It's a bury, and it sounds to me like, oops, I messed up here. But and that's the indigo bunting song. So they're much easier to hear, and they are actually. I've heard different discussions this year because some birders say they see more of them this year, and others have said, "Oh, I haven't seen one all spring."
There you go, caller. I guess the caller's satisfied with that answer. You know, I love to hear the cardinals because they have a very distinctive call. They say, wheat, 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 birdie, 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 birdie.
There you go.
Birdie, 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 birdie.
It's so helpful when I think for people, when you can put some sort of a connection either to words or some kind of a melody to the songs.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the glories of the morning, and up here in Stock County, all the birds and the songbirds. What's the difference between a songbird and a non-songbird, though? I think all birds have some kind of a song, don't they? Even the crow.
That's right. Even the hawks, they all have calls, and so right. It's the songbirds. I think we refer to as in those birds that you're talking about in the morning when you hear them. That they are most enjoyable. Some of us are laugh at well, some of the wonderful sparrows that we see around here, but some sparrows have songs that sound like insects.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's and some have very abbreviated 1 or 2 notes. In fact, the song of the chickadee, we think of that chickadee-dee-dee as being their song. Well, that's actually a call. Their song is actually a whistle.
Oh,
it sort
really?
of sounds, people think it's the phoebe because it sort of sounds like the phoebe, but it's actually our little chickadee, and it's their song.
Who's it's calling when it says chickadee-dee-dee?
Chickadee-dee-dee is a communication, well, you know, I'm over here getting food, honey, what do I need to bring anything home for dinner? You know, sort of thing.
I saw something, you know, we have cardinals around our house, and I like to watch birds, as most people do, and I saw a crow come down into their nest. And the crow had one of the hatchlings and flew away. And the cardinal started chasing it, but the cardinal gave out a very strange sort of whistle that I've never heard, and almost instantly about 8 other cardinals appeared.
Oh my goodness.
And they all attacked that crow. They were attacking him as he's flying. He's trying to divert and everything. There were a whole bunch of cardinals. It's as though they said, you know, get over here, guys, you know.
I need help.
Yeah, help. And evidently there is such a call, and the cardinals respond to it because I saw this.
Right. Well, I know that there's, I've not experienced that, but I know that there are many different calls that we don't relate to a specific bird. Blue jays are ones that they actually in the spring make a very beautiful song.
Oh, they're lovely. I know. I have them around my house.
Besides being raucous, they can also be fun to listen to.
They love peanuts too.
Yes.
I found out that they'll eat about 3 peanuts. Each one has 2 seeds in it, of course, 2 nuts. And at that point, if you keep giving them to them, they'll store them somewhere.
Yes.
They don't eat them. They just take them off and they go right back for another one. So you know they're not eating them because it takes them a while.
They do stash. We don't usually think of birds as being hoarders or stashers the way squirrels are, but birds do, specifically the blue jay and a few others do store things away.
Do you ever ban the nuisance type birds like starlings or crows? Or?
Yes. Well, we don't. Our nets are more for the small songbirds. Yeah. So we would hope not to catch a crow in it. But there's other ways to catch birds like our hawks, so that they can be banded.
I'll bet that's quite a job catching a hawk, though.
Yeah. Well, it has to do with what they do is a box that's is made of wire mesh, or this is at least one technique, is with a box that's made of wired mesh that might have a mouse in it, and then they have loopholes of fish line on the box, and so when the hawk goes down to catch that mouse, they get caught up in that fish line.
Oh, okay.
And that's how the kestrels and some of the small hawks are caught.
Well, now there is a center over in Ripley where there's a lot of hawk activity. I hear about it regularly. What is that?
The Ripley Hawk Watch is a an activity where and it's once again, it's scientifically documented for watching the birds. The hawks and other raptors go along the escarpment. They're looking for a way to get across Lake Erie. And so they follow that ridge looking for a way and looking for favorable winds to go across. And that's why there's a concentration of the hawks. And it's very important all along the, basically the lakes going, the Great Lakes, several places that they watch the hawks and report that to a national center so that there is ongoing data. And one of the fun things, we recently had our what we call a birdathon. We have a birdathon too, where everybody who birded May 19th and 20th reported to Audubon what species they saw. And together, we had 9 teams out there, and I think around 30 people, and we saw, people reported 137 different species of birds just in Chautauqua County and going into northern Warren County. It was a wonderful experience, and even was reported a golden eagle.
No kidding.
And
now,
so
that's a rare bird around
that's
here.
rare, but it's becoming less rare, and once again, they see it at the Hawk Watch, and that's something that can be reported.
Well, so you go over to Ripley. What time of year are they moving? Do you see a lot of birds?
They do it in the spring when the birds are migrating north.
When they're heading north. Now, we have a phenomenon, global warming, and I think it's pretty well accepted by everybody. Now, how has this affected the birds? They tell me that certain birds that were below a certain area geographically, a latitude, are moving up here.
That is correct. And for an example, the mockingbird is seen more and more frequently in this area, and especially along Lake Erie. The cardinal used to be considered a southern bird, and now it's not. It's a very common here. So it is the case that the bird's natural nesting area is moving north. It's also that the species of plants are changing, and that's very important. It's important to have a good diversity of native plants to support, and this is sort of interesting because you usually think about it the other way, but to support the insects so that they will feed the birds. So we're starting the whole food chain, so we will support the animals and plants, all of them that are necessary for our ecosystem, for our whole natural areas.
Good. Well, I noticed there used to be a sort of policy of, at the end of the grape rows, they would plant sunflowers. And of course that provided huge food for the birds, among other things. And so if you have a little space somewhere in your property, put in a sunflower. You'll feed a lot of birds.
That's right. And we ask gardeners who love to garden, and of course maybe love the exotic species, but also we ask, please put in one section of your garden for native species, so that we can have for example, the monarchs, as we all know, only lay their eggs on milkweeds. Most insects are plant specific, which host plant that their body can actually digest, and so it's important that we consider that all our, not just our butterflies, but all our insects that are so important to support life, that they find the right kind of plants to propagate.
So put in a milkweed plant, maybe.
Milkweed.
One of the things that we were talking about in the past was the fact that the monarch, which is a beautiful butterfly, starts out a caterpillar, of course, like all of them, and only eats the milkweed, which has poison in it. There's a lactose, almost rubber there. And it's bitter and poisonous, and the caterpillar seems to gobble it up with no trouble and forms a little capsule where it keeps some of it. And so the birds won't bother him. But when he turns into a butterfly, the monarch, when it goes through chrysalis and everything, it carries a little capsule along with it, with the poison. And so the birds will no longer eat monarchs either. They'll eat one monarch, and that'll be the end of it. They'll never eat another one. And so they're well protected. And there's a sneaky little bird called the viceroy, which imitates the monarch. It looks just like it, has similar coloring, and the birds won't touch them either. Nature is wonderful, isn't it?
Right. And we have August 26th, we'll be having our Monarch Festival.
Okay.
And people will be able to see not only from the egg through to the mature monarch, and at the end of the day at 4 o'clock we will be releasing monarchs that have been once again been tagged, so that as they begin their migration south, the possibility will be there that these monarchs may be recovered, and then we will learn more about the monarch
We'll have to
migration.
ask how you tag them, but we got a caller. Let's talk.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, good morning, Reed. Good morning, Ruth. This is Linda Spalding.
Well, hi, Linda Spalding.
Oh, what a wonderful a job to be in the Audubon.
Yeah, well, you live in Chautauqua, as I recall. They have a lot of birds over there in the institution.
Oh, we do. We have beautiful birds. I
Yeah.
love to watch them.
Yeah, the institute. You don't like institution, right?
Well, it all depends.
Okay, well, tell me, what's new over there?
Well, we've had beautiful weather. I guess it's
Yeah.
going to be a scorcher next week, but everybody's getting their places ready and preparing for the opening of the season.
And so, yeah, when do you open up officially?
It's always that weekend after the children get out of school.
What school?
Well,
They're already out of school in Atlanta, Georgia. 23 of June, I heard.
usually on the Friday before opening, Jamestown High School has their graduation ceremony, and I think Chautauqua Lake School comes in here now too, and then the season opens. And then the first week, there's popular entertainment, and then the symphony starts the second week or at the end of the first week, depending upon what their schedule is.
There have been some beautiful plantings done at Chautauqua Institution, rain gardens that have been planted in the last couple years, and I know I was just there last weekend as part of the Chautauqua in June for a wonderful program on the rain gardens around the new Fletcher
Well, they have one right by the amphitheater, too, a beautiful little place.
Right.
And a beautiful butterfly garden.
Oh, do they?
At the South Gate.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people are putting butterfly gardens out.
Well, how do you make a butterfly garden?
A butterfly garden is one, once again, that will focus on those species that our native species of butterflies love, and so there's bee balm and different milkweeds and many different native wildflowers that will attract the butterflies and make just a wonderful viewing.
Yeah, well, that sounds wonderful.
And I have 2 hummingbird feeders that I put out.
Do you get any hummingbirds?
Oh, all kinds of them. They're beautiful. I love to watch them.
Do you dye the food, the sugar red?
No,
No,
I
you
put
don't?
them in a red feeder.
Oh, it's a red feeder, so that brings them in. Why do they like red? Nobody answers that question for me.
Well, I think it's something that has developed in their genes over time, and so maybe red flowers tend to have more nectar. I don't know.
How's the old guy over there? She lives with a sweetheart. He's a nice old fellow. How's he doing over there?
Oh, he's doing okay.
Is he training those dogs again?
I'm training the dogs, and I have to confess they're not very well disciplined.
Oh, they had a dog, Squirty, right? Who could play the piano, and he.
Oh, my goodness.
I have a cat that plays the piano ever since it was a kitten.
Oh my goodness.
It loves to go up and down. It's become much more involved now because it dances on the bass and goes up to the. And the cat's 17 years old, and he was up there this morning when I left.
How wonderful.
And the neighbors, when we're sitting on the porch, nobody's in the house, but they hear the piano being played. They wonder who's playing that piano.
Does he play Kitten on the Keys?
No, he jumps up and down on them, though. He runs up and down. He has the greatest time. He just loves it. And when somebody closes the piano by accident, it really frustrates him terribly.
Well, cats Cats are very intelligent.
Oh,
I used
yes.
to have a cat that would adjust the radio dial,
Okay, I had a cat.
change the stations.
I had a cat